Greetings, MFs. Welcome back to Rank Everything, the show where we rank everything. I'm your host, Ryan, and today, recommended by Lord Albertus 3, or the 3rd, whichever they prefer, we're going to be ranking all the Soulsborne final bosses based on whether or not they like BDSM. Before we start, I will say this is the first ever tier list that I have had to make specifically for a video, because there isn't a tier list that just has all the Soulsborne final bosses on it, apparently. But now there is this one. This one will be public for you to come in here and make your own choices if you so wish. But our categories for today are: at the bottom we have does not do it. These are characters who do not practice BDSM. In any sense of the word. Then we have characters who would be willing to try it once. These are characters who, they'd be willing to do it one time. It's likely how they feel with all things related to the bedroom. Then we have characters who have done it multiple times. Characters who, maybe they wouldn't say that they like doing it, but they have done it more than once. Then we have characters that likes it, and does it often. Characters that like it and do it often. That's the top. We've got Freak. These are characters who, they live for this. This is everything to them. Okay. Right, so not very many, just because there's not very many Soulsborne final bosses. I'll explain one or two of these. I'll have an explanation. But first, we've got Old King Allant from Demon Souls. So Demon Souls is the only game of the Souls series I have not played. Of course, I really do want to play the Demon Souls remake. But it's just like, based on the fact that he like a king. I think there's like a false king boss fight. I don't remember which one that one is. And then, I don't know if that's this one or if that's something else, but just like, you hear about it all the time in like stories of like these super noble kings who have this high stature and they carry themselves like gentlemen and stuff like that, and then you find out they've got a torture chamber buried somewhere inside of their castle or underneath their fucking house or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, they were doing some mega freak shit down here. I feel like that's probably just what the case is going to be for any king, because that's just like, when you got all that money and all that power and nobody can tell you what you can and cannot do, you're probably gonna cross a line every now and again. I'm just gonna say that he has done it multiple times. Okay. Gwyn. So Gwyn, when we meet Gwyn at the end of the first Dark Souls, he's nothing like what we've been told he's like. Because that's the thing, Gwyn's boss fight is a very lore-heavy boss fight, rather than just being a legitimately great fight that's exhilarating and all that other stuff. And so, Gwyn's boss fight is great, not because the fight is awesome, but because of the implications in the lore. And so, I imagine, considering all the bad things we would hear about Gwyn, there's no telling what kind of crazy shit he was getting up to inside the torture chambers and the sex dungeons and other stuff like that. I'm going to say that Gwyn has also done it multiple times. I would put him in the likes it and does it often, but when we meet him, the kingdom is obviously destroyed, and he's not like that anymore. Nashandra, well, okay. Nashandra is more complicated than I would have originally guessed, because if you've played Dark Souls 2, you would know that when we first meet her, because originally we meet her as an NPC, and when we first meet her, she appears to us as a beautiful woman with long flowing hair, wearing this very elegant white gown, and we've come to figure out that that's a appearance that it's a facade that she put on to trick Vendrick into marrying her and letting her be queens, also that he would go across the sea and eradicate all the giants for her. And of course, it led to the complete destruction of Drangleic as a kingdom. And so it's like, So what I would say is that when she's with Vendrick, obviously, I bet she's just like the sweetest lady. I'm sure they, lay down, have some good romantic adult time. I think. But then, like, I'm sure when she's by her, Nashandra's going in the freak category. Nashandra's our first freak on this list. The Soul of Cinder. So, I don't know a lot about the Soul of Cinder. I know that I think the thing with the Soul of Cinder is that it's like literally a physical manifestation of either it's I don't always remember. I thought it was either it's just a physical manifestation of the fire trying to prevent you from linking it or extinguishing it or something like that, or it's like literally supposed to be your character from the first Dark Souls, like their body, and you're fighting against them and whatever decision they made or something like that. He does not do it. Soul of Cinder does not do BDSM. Gehrman. So the Gehrman and Moon Presence are on here because Bloodborne has multiple different final bosses depending on which ending you get. So that's why they're both on here. But Gehrman is, when we meet Gehrman, he's in the wheelchair, and this is like a facade. It's like meant to trick the player. He doesn't really need that wheelchair. He just sits in it because fuck it. He's always trying to, I don't know where. Gehrman, he's an extremely difficult boss fight unless you know how to bait out his visceral attack, or unless you know how to bait him out and stun him to get the visceral attack. Because I've seen people fight him and they just trivialize that fight. It's pretty impressive, actually. But Gehrman, I mean, he was in the Hunter's Dream by himself for a long-ass time. There's no way in fuck that you can try to tell me that he was not doing the craziest shit to that puppet. But I'm not going to put him in the freak category because I think he's not so crazy and outrageous. I'm going to put him in the likes it and does it often category. The Moon Presence. The Moon Presence is literally an alien. It's literally this thing that exists on the moon, and it's like the big thing with the cosmic horror that Bloodborne offers, which I love cosmic horror stuff, but I guess I'm more picky when it comes to that thing. People really go crazy over the cosmic horror stuff of Bloodborne, which it is cool, but I'm just not a huge fan of that, I guess. That's besides the point. The Moon Presence, I mean, it's like, on one hand, you could say that it's an alien, and it doesn't know what BDSM is. Or you could be like, it's an alien, and the stuff that we would consider crazy is stuff that it just considers normal because its facilities are completely different. Which is why I'm actually going to put the Moon Presence in the does not do it category, because it's an alien that has things that exist. So the basic idea, because that's just the basic idea of cosmic horror is that the characters, who are usually human, are dealing with entities that exist so far beyond comprehension that trying to think about it would make your head explode. That's a very common thing in Lovecraft stories, which is, he's the godfather of cosmic horror. Okay, Sword Saint Ishin. So if you've played Sekiro, you would know that Sekiro also has multiple different endings, but all the endings, at least all the ones I know of, they just lead you to fighting Ishin in the end. And so I picked Sword Saint Ishin because he's like the true final boss if you do the Sever Immortality ending, versus if you do the Iron Code ending. And so, but Sword Saint Ishin, probably the most difficult boss of in any Soulsborne game, is what I would guess. Of course, at the same time, you could also make the argument that Sekiro is not a Soulsborne game, and that it falls into its own category, which I'd believe that. Ishin, though, I mean, he's like a really, I mean, he's like a warmonger, sort of, something like that. Incredible warrior. You know, he really, I don't know, when we meet, because we meet, so the lore is that the Sword Saint Ishin that we fight is like a version of him from the past when he's much, much younger. And the way it happens in game is that basically we fight Genichiro, we beat him, and then Ishin just kind of pops out of Genichiro's body, and then the real final boss fight starts. But it says that that's not really Ishin, or it's somehow Ishin from the past, because we meet Ishin earlier in the game, and he's an old man. He's at the end of his life. He's got some sort of sickness that he's going to die from, and all that stuff. And so it's like when we meet Ishin, he's just this nice old man. You know, you wouldn't really guess that this guy was doing the kind of stuff that he was apparently doing, and he's just like a cool, relaxed dude. Like, we literally like go talk to him in his house, and he's just chilling on the floor, drinking or whatever, because that's what you do when you don't have anything else to do. I fucking guess you just enjoy the quiet and you drink all day. And so all I can say is, where was I going with this? Whatever. Right. Ishin, he's probably not going to be somebody who would be doing that all the time. I'm going to say that Ishin goes in the would be willing to try it once category. Elden Beast. Elden Beast sort of falls into the same category of the Moon Presence, where the Elden Beast, depending on how you interpret the lore, the Elden Beast is an alien. It's not from our world. It came from outer space, and then it's godlike in some sort of manner, and it's able to convince, and it has power that goes beyond comprehension of regular people, and it somehow is able to, you know, it's like, then that's where like the origins of the Golden Order come from, and the Greater Will and all that other stuff. And so it's like, on one hand, the Elden Beast is an alien, so you could make the argument that it's so far beyond us that it either doesn't care about BDSM, doesn't know what BDSM is because it's a human concept, or it just thinks that that stuff is normal because its facilities are completely different. I don't know. All I'm saying is, I fought the Elden Beast. I did not see a dick. So, does that mean that the Elden Beast is a woman? I don't know. But I think the Elden Beast... So that's the thing, like, Marika, she is basically a vessel for the Greater Will. She's like... she's just like sort of this vessel for the Greater Will. The Greater Will enacts what it wants through Marika, sort of. And after we defeat Marika and Radagon, that's when the Elden Beast reveals itself. And the Elden Beast is the literal physical manifestation of the Greater Will. Like, it's the Greater Will being like, fuck this shit, I've had it with you, I'll do it myself. And that's when we fight the Elden Beast. And so I'm gonna put the Elden Beast in does not do it. As weird as that feels, it makes sense to me. But this is it. This is the official ranking for which Soulsborne final bosses are most likely to practice BDSM. If you all enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel to see more content just like this in the future. It means everything to me whenever you all subscribe to the channel and watch the videos all the way through. Leave a like on this video so that YouTube will recommend these videos more to you and others. Also very helpful to me in the channel. And then finally, leave a comment down below letting me know what ranking you want to see in the future. It can be anything. The channel is called Rank Everything. Once again, thank you all for watching,